Hey everybody, okay, I'm going down a little bit of a rabbit hole here because there's a piece of a Mishnah, this week's Mishnah, yesterday's actually, that really has been bugging me. And I'll share it with you. I don't know what to do with it, but I think there's something more here if you're supposedly interested. So in the Mishnah, in Chullin Mishnah Tet, Parak Tet Mishnah Bet, the Mishnah said, it's talking about skins of animals, are they Tamei, are they not Tamei? And then Mishnah adds the following. Kulam she'ibdan, everything that you, if you tanned it, Shehilach behem kadei avodah, or you walked over, you started, that's the way you start the tanning process. Tahorim. They're no longer considered animal skins and they're tahor. Chutz mi'or ha'adam, except for the skin of a human being. And what the heck is that talking about? So the Bartanura said, and this is why in the world the Mishnah talking about human skin? It's really very, very troubling. So the Mishnah, Bartanura quotes the Gemara. The Gemara says that really human skin is tahor, because it's not skin. Umatam amru adam she'ibdo tamei. Why in the world did they say that tanned human skin is tamei? Gzeira shema ya'aseh adam orot avi v'imo shtichin lamita. It's a gzeira, must be a decree that a person would make the skins of his mother and his father shtichin lamita, either carpets for the bed, leishev lishkav aleihem. And I'm thinking, this is exactly what the Gemara says. The Gemara says that. That's the Gezerah, that's the decree. If you look in, the Babli on Daf Kuf Chav Bet Amud Bet, I think. No, Kuf Chav Bet Amud Aleph. The Babli says exactly that. Amra Ula Devar Torah or Adam Torah. Matam Amru Tamei. Zeira Hashem Hasanam Orot Avi V'Imosh Tichin. Okay, and then V'ika Damat Lila Asefa. Some learn it in another way, but it's so weird. It's so troublesome to me. In fact, so I started doing a tiny bit of research on this. So I found a couple of things. First of all, it's not just me. If you look at the Portal Daf Yomi, on this daf, they're like, Tam zet nir'at tamua. This is very, very questioning, weird. Ukvar Ritva sha'alakach. The Ritva asked, V'alo afilu rashasha bagoyim eno oseh davar kazeh. The most wicked people. Who in the world would do that? So he said maybe they're trying to, he basically says maybe it's theoretical, maybe there were anashim kitzoniyim lekan. So I started doing a little bit of research, and if you look, there were people that actually skinned their enemies, right? If you look at National Geographic, there was a group called the Scythians, ancient nomads made human leather out of their enemies. So that's one indication. I first started to think about that. Then you realize that if you look actually in the Gemara, in Chullin, where are we? Chullin in Kuf Chaf Gimel. Gemara adds another story. The Gemara says, Tana Rabbanan, Ligyon ha'over mimakom lemakom. If you have a legion, a foreign legion that's going from place to place, v'nichnas lebeit, and they walk into a house, a Jewish house, abayit tamei. The house is tamei. Why? Mipnei she'en lecha kol ligyon v'ligyon, she'en lo kama karpaplin. It doesn't have some karpaplin. It's very interesting. Karpaplin, Rashi says, or rosh adam met. V'zela machshefot b'milchama. It's the skin of a dead person, and they did it in order for sorcery during the war. So they had it in their legions. Now, if we look at Rashi, that's karpaplin. This word karpaplin is a really interesting word. Maybe you can see it, karpapel. If you look at the Jastro, he says, one second, usually it's tend to mean skull or head, or a scalp. Right? I mean, we know, we know it. I know it from the culture of Indians. Indians would scalp their enemies. But the Jastro is the Jastro bonus, and he points out, if you look at the Gemara in Avodah Zarah, Gemara is talking about freaky things that they did. So the Gemara says, okay, we're talking about Yom Edam, the holidays that they would have. So the Gemara says, Tashma, Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel. It said, they had another crazy holiday, Beromi. In Rome, once every 70 years, they would take a healthy person and make him ride a limp man, like an injured man or a crippled man, and they would dress him with the clothes of Adam Arishon, whatever that means. They have this word. Remember we said karkiplo is the scalp? No, karkiplo shel Rabbi Yishmael. The scalp of Rabbi Yishmael, but it's not the scalp of Rabbi Yishmael. If you look at Rashi here, Rashi says, Rabbi Shmuel, we know this from the Aris Asara Gui Malchut. Kohen Gadol, he was a Kohen Gadol, Uharei Malchut Haya. He was from the people that are executed by the Romans. Umitoch Yofyo, this is according to Jewish legend, and we say this on Yom Kippur. due to his beauty, nichnas b'lei bat Kesar, he was beloved by the daughter of the Caesar. V'hivshit or panav, okay, and she skinned his face. V'chanta ba'afar Simon, and she somehow, I guess, what's the word? She used formaldehyde and solidified it, skinned it onto an afar Simon and some kind of fruit. Shetei mekuyemet v'lo nishtaneh, so that his face would stay there. V'adayin munach v'ginzei romi. Rashi says the face of Rabbi Yishmael is still somewhere in the Ginzei Romi, the Vatican, the basement of the Vatican. Who knows? So, but it seems clearly, and if you that's in Avodah Zarah, that there was some kind of voodoo, sorcery, heebie-jeebie, with some kind of voodoo that they believed if you keep the skin of a person, the face of a person has some kind of power. And I don't know. Yeah, somebody has to do a little bit more research about this. But I think that when the Gemara in Chullin, when we learned the Gemara in Chullin, there were different Mesorah. Like, what could it be? Why in the world? So I think the Gemara in Chullin, Ula is coming along. He's like, what in the world? And maybe you wouldn't make your parents into. Why would a person make his parents into a seat cover? It's hard to imagine even back then. There must have been some kind of sorcery or some kind of pagan belief that encouraged people. And then this comes along the Mishnah and says, or Adam Tamei, get it out of your house. We don't want anything to do with the skin of human beings. Get it out of our house. I know it's gross, but it's fascinating. I just got caught on this